Hello, hello. I guess I say welcome back. We always disappear. I'm Barrett. I got Mark with me. We also invited Chris Bromley and Universus Studios. We are making content again. Why, you ask? Well, because, we have a living card game again.
Yeah, there's stuff to talk about.
There's things to talk about. Specifically, we are gathered this morning for us, noon now for Bromley, because some cool stuff happened this past weekend. Jasco announcements, My Hero Academia card game announcements, as well as some other events that have finally started to form, as well as having things like an official release date. That's all great. I'm not your crier, town crier, trying to tell you all that stuff. You can look it all up on your own. But the fact is that things are moving quickly, and we're getting spoilers, we're getting reveals. Every single week, we basically at this point are seeing full characters being revealed, and so a lot of this is just. Mark and I have really kind of disappeared from the scene for quite some time. Bromley, we know you have your YouTube channel, and I tune into it at least a lot, quite a bit, because I do appreciate it. But even as I think content creators as a whole have kind of agreed that it's been really hard to make something right now, and it's very slow, and there's not really much to talk about. So today that's why I've invited you, and Mark and I were kind of back. We're gonna kind of just dive in and just have some really good talking points, basically of things that were announced this past weekend and moving forward into less than a month away now for when My Hero Academia will hit. And so we're gonna talk about two main things, which will be My Hero as this. My Hero is its own standalone format, which they have some cool rules and stuff. They've also announced this past weekend, and then also moving into Universus standards. So, because as a whole, the channel is Universus Studios. But first, Bromley, how are you doing?
I'm chilling, dude.
I see that. You don't
I've
have
been
a
chilling.
giant animal on your face like I do,
Yeah, it's
or
it's
Mark.
gone. It's gone, dude. I shaved.
So that's fair. Mark, what about
Whole
you?
nude.
Doing good.
Yeah,
Awesome, sweet. Then we'll
that's
dive in.
pretty.
The first thing I guess we want to talk about is because we are all competitive card game players, is they have given us an announcement for a Universus Nationals event, and it's in less than a month. So we're mainly going to talk about is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? What does this look like? Um,
Hey, you gotta point out that My Hero is gonna be legal for it, right?
that's true. So yeah, My Hero Academia, the set comes out the weekend of October 15th. October 15th is the official street date, which is that Friday. Um,
Yeah, and then that's on the 24th.
that's the
22nd,
Sunday.
23rd, 24th,
But the
yeah.
weekend of the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, it's a convention in Arlington, Virginia, which that's never been a place where nationals has been held. Sorry, Atlanta folk. And so yeah, so there's basically a release weekend. Immediately followed right afterwards is Universus Nationals, not a My Hero only format. It is the card game that we have been playing for years, and that has almost had zero events for the past 2 years due to COVID and everything. Is having an event that they call Nationals, which means to everybody's mind, we're thinking, oh, you can go and win a piece of cardboard.
Right.
And I think it has a lot of people either scratching their heads or, on the other end, they're super excited about it. What are y'all's thoughts?
You want to go first, man?
Sure. So I am super excited because we haven't had any in-person events, like real big in-person events since COVID. And being the last person that won our huge in-person event, I'm super excited to get back out there and play cards. I know there's a lot of people who are upset because it's a month away, and I think that's okay. I think it was a little rushed. I don't think they should have told us 5 weeks out that they were gonna have nationals. I think it should have been at least 2 or 3 months out that they should have told us. That's not gonna put a negative taste in my mouth. I mean, it's still a chance to go play cards, and if you love your game and you want to go play it, you'll make it happen. So it's just one of those things.
I would agree with those. It's as a competitive card game player, I'm glad that there's an event. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Um, I would also say that before we get to your full thoughts, Bromley,
Yeah.
Do you think it would have been better if 2 months ago they said, "Hey, we're having nationals on this date, still not having a My Hero set date," and then this Gen Con weekend, they're like, "Oh, but hey, by the way, you know that Nats event that we announced about a month ago or a month and a half ago? My Hero comes out the week before it, so that it mixes up the format." Like, would that have been a better way to do this?
No,
No, you don't think so? Just to give people
no,
more time to travel to the event?
no. They were fucked either way, dude. If
Okay,
they were gonna do it, if they're gonna do it that date, they were fucked no matter what they were gonna do.
that's
Because
fair.
if you wait until when the set announcement is released, like they did, you get people upset because they're not going to be able to. They have to scramble to make their decks, right? So there's not much iteration that's going to be able to be done. Now for UFS players, that's not like a huge deal, right? Because lots of people are like, "Well, I built my deck the day before the event. I built it the morning of the event." You know, like dumb buttheads doing that shit and being like, "Yeah, fucking Ben Shoemaker and shit." Like, but
I've been
if
guilty
they
of
had done it,
it.
you guys are fucking dumb. Play. I hate that shit, dude. People you're like, I love UFS, and then not play the game UFS until an event. Eat my asshole.
Oh no, that's not what I meant. So I thought I'm in the category of like, I have a deck that I'm gonna bring, and then I like second guess myself, and I build some shit on the fly. Like that's what I'm saying.
See, that's also dumb, but for different reasons.
Right.
But like on the other hand, if they had like, in August or July or whatever, and be like, "Hey, UFS Nats at this time," and then they would have had people screaming about how, "Oh, you're gonna have an event. You're organizing. You're spending time on an event and not getting your set out. Like, there's still no release date." So they're not gonna win no matter what. The only way that
Okay.
you would make like
Yeah.
people happy in all senses is to do the intelligent thing, and this is not the intelligent thing. What they're doing is to wait. Because right now you're gonna
If they
have.
wanted to have a nationals, they should have done it in like November.
Yeah, you do it. You do it 2 months later than the set, because then you can drum up hype from the new people, right? You can get old hats, right? Like the people who, because there you get people traveling across the fucking country to do this shit, right?
Yeah.
And like I'm sure that if it were 2 months later, you'd have more people showing up. They're talking about how it's a 120 capped event. I'd be really surprised if there were 40 people at the event.
Other thing, I didn't watch a lot of the coverage this weekend. Mark and I
Mhm.
work almost every weekend basically in our
Sure.
industry, and so like I don't get to watch a lot of this stuff as it gets released live. Um, I don't know, and so elaborate if you have more information, Chris. But I don't even know if they've given us kind of like full details on how this is supposed to look. Like this is less than a month away, and as far as I know, when I was looking for information, I know the convention that it's held at, but I don't.
Hmm.
But I have to go digging separately to find like what are the COVID regulations for this? Like
I don't know.
what do I have to do for this event? Do I have to
Yeah, I
buy
don't
a
know.
badge before going, or is it like a world setup where I get one for free just because I want to go to nationals? Like, and at the same time, like plane tickets they go up as you get closer. So
Yep.
like
I
I
think you
don't
have to
have
buy
any
a
info.
badge. I'm pretty sure you have to buy a badge to get in. Um, I don't know the COVID details because I didn't look it up, and I live in fucking Florida, so I live in the cesspool of America. Um,
And this is
uh,
this is as far as I'm going to go on this topic because it can
okay,
get political, and we're not going to go
sure.
there. But
No,
there,
okay.
I do know that there are certain states that are holding events that are like requiring people to be vaccinated. Like that
Yeah,
exists, and we're
yeah.
not elaborating on that. But I'm saying like if that information is something that needs to be told to people,
I don't
I
know.
don't know where it's at. So
Yeah, I don't know. I
so
don't
that's
know.
a
That's an important thing,
and it's a
actually.
nightmare. I know Mark really wants to go. I can't. I know I'm not going to get that weekend off. Because I have a separate weekend off that month and I only get one. So like I'm sad that I won't be able to go. So I'm sad I won't be able to go, but I still want my boys to do good. Like I want you to be able to go, but I know you're still trying to figure that out too, and
I'm
you
pretty
and
sure.
everybody else in the community, right?
Well,
Like.
so on one hand, like I really want to go because it's for all the reasons that we've described. This
Hmm.
is this is an awesome thing. We get to play the fucking game. Like the last event that I played at was Miles's 1K event, and that was dope. And there were 30 people, and like it felt like a PTC. But like on the other hand, I don't want to be like yeah, Jasco, this is okay. You should continue making decisions like this. Like what I would have liked to have seen would be like treat it like some of these venture capital games have been over the last year, where you put your release out, you do local events, you do your like regional events, and then you do your national events, right? And you
Mhm.
and if you're and like the really scary thing to me is that if you saw the branding, it branded UFS. It was the classic UFS banner.
Yes, I did. It's got
Um,
E Honda on it, right?
yeah, it's got all the old UFS branding on it, and like that makes me think that they're just not prepared to run two separate formats. Like
I get that
so.
idea. I don't know if that's the case, right? I would also say too on the follow up point for this is I still have pictures on my computer saved from when they were still trying to roll out this My Hero stuff, and if you remember, all of that stuff said November.
Yes,
All of that advertisement, like
it did.
whatever, it all said November. I understand, and I 100% think it's a good idea because of how long this has taken to get to this point. That we have this opportunity to get this into stores on October. Let's do it in October. Like
Right.
I think that's great, and I'm glad
Yeah.
they're in a position to where they can shift a whole month ahead of time now.
hmm
Then it just makes me feel like this event now feels like a rushed thing.
So what I'm going to, and this is complete conjecture. I don't know anything, but
I
what
don't
I
either.
assume it's either like one of two things is either they've had the information for a while and they didn't want the thing that we're talking about where like you say it 2 months ago and there was no release date and then people get fucking pissed, right? Or what I think is more likely is the opportunity came up. Somebody was like, "There's this con in fucking
Virginia.
Richmond, Virginia," and somebody at Jesco knew guys at that thing, and they're like, "Hey, we have floor space. We have this room. We can fit this many people." And then they jumped at the chance. And I bet it happened last week, right? Like if that was the scenario, that happened last week, and they're like, "Sick, let's do it. People are gonna
Eh,
love it."
I don't know about
You know?
that. I mean, last week, like, as I'm friends with people that like organize
Yeah,
like gaming conventions and anime conventions and stuff like that.
sure.
I think like this convention that's being held next month has been trying to do this convention probably for months now because of COVID
Oh, no, no, no,
restrictions.
no, no. Like I'm just saying, like I've seen I've know a bunch of people who've like done conventions. Like I have a one of my old students, her mom was a con organizer for like horror conventions, right?
Okay, yeah,
And stuff like that would happen where people like especially during COVID, that stuff would cancel, right? And then
gotcha.
you'd have to fill the spot or something like that, or you just have more space than you initially thought. So I could see that phone call happening. Now, I'm not saying
Okay.
that's exactly what happened, right? They could have known for a while, and it was the situation that I was describing where like they didn't want people to scream and they wanted to be able to announce it at the same time.
Mhm.
Um, but I think that an opportunity came up, and then they took it, because it's a cool thing. Like I mean, like the complaints are just that you're gonna have 2 weeks to fucking like work with it, like people are gonna have all these new cards. I mean, luckily most of them are under the standard, like power level, so there's not that much that you can pull from it. In theory, we haven't seen everything,
Correct.
but like also that's a whole lot of new cards to like learn about and like test.
180 is
And
the set size. 180.
it's huge, plus the
Um,
plus ultra packs and the
So
quirk
like,
packs and
so my issue is, um, before they announced this, I feel like the general attitude was we were gonna get a Worlds next year.
yeah,
yeah.
That
for
was
sure.
that's the next event we were
I
gonna have.
I was
Was
even
gonna
ready because they've already given us a second date for the next MHA set for January, right, or whatever.
Is it
I
January?
think it's
Holy shit.
January. Like we get this first set in October or something, and like the Crimson Rampage, like the pre-orders have already started
Yeah,
for it, right? So I think yeah, so
yeah.
I think that comes with a Q1 release in like January or February or something like that.
Right,
So
right.
I'm with Mark. I'm like in my head, I was like, we're gonna get MHA release. Give us some months to play test some cool stuff, brand new format. They're gonna plan out a circuit series. They're gonna start making phone calls with all these local in applications for PTCs or retroactive to get at the ones that never happened in the past 2 years. And then boom, 2022, we have a whole new competitive circuit, including a Worlds. That was my same headspace as Mark. But as you're kind of saying, go ahead.
Yeah, so we all expected there to be a Worlds, so that I think it would have been completely okay for them to have this set come out and then announce a PTC 2 weeks after. I think
hmm
that would have been acceptable. But I think to
Yeah,
give us an event that you could potentially win cardboard, a week after, that just seems a bit rushed. Because I think we would have been okay if they were like, hey, we're dropping My Hero, and after My Hero, we're gonna start up a Pro Tour circuit, and then they just give us a few major places. Like they could have done, they're like a PTC in Richmond, Virginia, a week after, and then people would have been like, ah, whatever, and people who die hard wanted to go could have gone,
Yep.
and then they could have been like one in Omaha, one in blah blah blah, one here, one there, one here, and then they could have been like, and now it's time for Worlds, and they could have done a Worlds in February, and that, I think that would have been completely understandable, and I think it would have had a lot better reaction from the community.
Yeah.
And I also think they
Absolutely.
didn't present it very well. I didn't get to watch the full video. I watched parts of it, and I just want to know where Jasco's mind is behind why are we having this nationals, and what is their goal besides just throwing together an event for us. Uh, and like what, like you said, what are the COVID restrictions? What's the logistics? What do we got to do to get there? What are they going to do for the players when we're there? What's prize support look like? Is there going to be cardboard? Like I just feel like there needs to be just a segment where they answer some of these questions that the community has voiced frequently since they came out with that video. So
No, I agree. That's as much as I would think I want to talk about specifically on the short notice thing.
Mhm.
I would say on the point that you just brought up, Mark, and it's probably the last thing before we go on to a different topic, is the fact that this is the Nationals, and unless they make a separate announcement that this is not a cardboard event, regardless, there is a max cap on how many players can be at this event. Obviously, it's at a convention, we only have a certain amount of size. That cap is 120, I believe, is what I read when I first found some
Mhm.
information. And
Yeah.
personally, I don't think it's going to hit that.
No.
It's too short notice. People aren't going to have time off to get off of work, plane tickets, as well as the people that are going to invest into a set the week before, the money that it takes to do that, as well as then immediately following it up and going to an event. I think obviously the people that live nearby will commute and drive, and so you will get your attendance. But like, how many people do you think are actually going to be at this event?
Like I was saying earlier, I'd be surprised to see 40.
Wow,
I would expect probably a 70-person event. I know it's super short notice, but the people who play this game love this fucking game, and
absolutely.
they just make it happen. On top of
Well,
that, I feel like that you'll have those new My Hero players who just got the cards and want to slam a deck together, and there won't be enough cards for them to build a deck for standard. I don't. They should be able to build a deck
They
for standard.
there will be enough cards in each specific symbol for you to build a standard UFS or Universus deck, but
yeah.
it won't be
Well,
great if
so
all you have is My Hero stuff.
So I think
that's
that that's
that's the last thing that like I worth mentioning is that if you're a new player
You
and
don't
you
want to
don't
do
have
that.
any standard cards,
Don't
do not
go.
play at that
Don't
event.
play. You're
Do
gonna
not play at that
don't
event.
you don't be
But the thing is, they're not going
demoralized.
to watch this. They're not going to watch this,
I
right?
know,
Because
I
they're new
know.
players and they're going to be excited. So there are going to be like 10 or 12 of these guys who show up from DC, Baltimore, maybe North Carolina and things like that, and they're gonna have their cool, Midoriya deck, and they're gonna get fucking their face pounded in by Uraraku with fucking Moonset, and they're gonna be like, "What the fuck is this? What is that, man? What are you? What? This is the game?" And they're gonna quit, and like that feels bad. Like
that
for
just
those
feels
12
like
people, it's
like
not gonna move the
I
needle in any direction, but like it still feels bad
I
that those
don't
people are
think
their first
if you
experience with standards
just
could be
got
that
into
bad.
this game and you sit down across from me at this event, I'm sorry. Like, it's not the place to be. You should
Yeah.
not be
I
sitting down across from me at this event.
okay, hold on. I think probably think it's an extremely radical viewpoint. I think there are going to be players that do that because if this is still again, the people that do like Universus the card game love it.
Hmm.
And so they're going to go even if they're going to get their shit kicked in. Because one, prize support for just going is usually worth it,
Sure.
especially for a free entry event. Even if you had to buy a badge, you're probably still going to get some really cool swag that you're going to get at this event. And I think
Hmm.
Jasco has always notoriously done a good job of that.
So
So,
this sounds really shitty. I think they need to up the prize support for this event. I don't care what it is. I think they need to up it because you are having players who you are wanting them to invest. I don't know what's the average investment into a set. $800, six hundred
like I
dollars.
mean, a player kit if you do the pre-order player kits, it's like $480, and if you want a play set of specific cards, you need more than that. So
Yeah.
So usually around $600-700
600
to get a
plus.
play set
yeah.
from a set. So you're having people that you want to commit that, and then the $300 for a plane ticket, and then rooming there for the week. So people are spending $1,200 on your game plus
In 2 weeks.
just
Like,
in this. It's a week. Yeah, it's a weekend to a weekend. Like
yeah,
in
yeah.
1 week, you're having people spend this money. Give them something.
Yeah.
Kind of like I understand it's not the business model, but like I feel like every player that shows up to your event has shown you that they love your fucking game. They should get like half a box just showing up of My Hero. Like,
And I think they're gonna have it out the wazoo at this event. Like they're gonna have My Hero. So like if you go, you're gonna win My Hero. You're gonna like if you top at this event, you're gonna get packs and packs and packs of My Hero. You have to think too. Like I know they have those like I know Jason said on the Joffis that he wants these like signed or whatever hot stamp stuff from whatever. Like they want to do like a Vice Schwartz esque thing for like high
Right.
rarity versions because I think foily stuff is cool or whatever. Um, if it's even to where it's like, hey, you not only get this cool stuff, but we just have a copy of it, and so you won. So like, here you go, and you're just like, but
Right.
like that is money, right? Like they're giving you a piece of cardboard that has monetary value. So like,
I also want
I
to know what they're gonna do for if you win My Hero Worlds or Nationals.
right.
Only.
And we don't know. That's future stuff of like what's that format look like, what's that circuit look like.
Right.
But that's the upcoming big thing is this nationals event that's going to it. If either of you two end up going, I will be cheering for you 100% from my job, as I will be keeping an eye on it. But I am personally not going.
It sounds
Um,
like I'll be going.
Sounds good. Perfect. Moving on, separate side topics. And if you look in Discord, you two, as we were recording this, Jasco has started more reveals for this week because it's Monday, and they've shown
Mhm.
off Shoto Todoroki. Not that we specifically are going to talk about what he does, but into the next topic, which is it's a twofold one, and I have it labeled as what do we think are mistakes for cards that they're printing for Universus standard from the upcoming set of stuff they've shown us? And then also mistakes for cards that they printed for what's just going to be the My Hero only format. And where we can just talk about specific cards, or we can talk about the new Mulligan rule that's also existing for My Hero. This is
There's a new
something.
mulligan rule.
Oh, someone has not been paying attention. So they came out this past weekend. I think it was literally Saturday night or Sunday morning or something like that. Um, My Hero only format is getting a new Mulligan rule, which is basically um, at the beginning of the game, you draw your hand size. You can select any amount of those cards, put them on the bottom of your deck, draw back up to your hand size, shuffle your deck.
Mm.
So
Perfect. Wonderful.
if you
Love
play
it.
if you play Dragon Ball, that's what it is.
Yeah,
Um,
that's Pokemon too,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
right?
So it is a selective. There's a word for it, but whatever it is, it's like so it's selective and then redraw back up.
Yeah, selected mulligan.
So there was a lot of discussion about it online. I read some of it, but whether it was like this should exist in standard, and you're like you're out of your mind. It's kind of that'd be nuts. There's people that
That'd
are
be
like
great.
they're like if you go second in standard, you should at least be able to do it, and
Nah,
there
give it to both players. Why in what world
is
is
Mulligan different for first
yeah,
and second.
well, no, just like why bake in randomness like feels bad into the game if you can make it feel better for both players that way, right?
Yeah,
Like baking inconsistency can only empower the less stable decks, right? The only way that Mulligan works now, and even back then when you're removing out the whole hand, like the only way it works is if your deck is stable, right?
yeah, correct.
Like, and even then sometimes you get fucked.
Right, because it's
Like
still a card game. Like,
just ship it, just
and
ship
that's
it
and
over to
that's every
standard.
Mulligan rule. You can still get
Hey,
fucked.
so side
Yeah,
question. I'm sorry, I don't mean to go back. Is Jasco not putting on this event?
they are, I
No, they
think.
are.
Yeah.
Because they're not branded on any of the invites or anything. So
Huh.
I haven't seen their name at all on any of the things. So that was my curiosity.
It was
Well, it
just it
wouldn't be
was
a nationals with cardboard if they weren't involved.
and
So if
it
they
was
announced the
on their
national cardboard,
channel, like right, like that's
Yeah,
when
they
the
announced it on their channel
it
for
was
sure.
on their channel, and I
Yeah, like
thought
it
it
was
was
on the
their
Joffers.
live stream or whatever. So
It
like
was.
if it came from their word of mouth, just because just because the logo is not plastered on any. As Bromley said earlier, like there's freaking E Honda on it, and it's like old UFS. It's old. It's the UFS logo.
Yeah, it's not you. It's not Universus.
We're past that. We're trying to exclude that from our vocabulary so that these players are like, huh? And
Right.
we can only kind of get away with it because we still have card backs that say it.
Hey, at least your channel isn't named unfun stuff, you know?
I just, you know what? I've actually never gotten that till just now. I thought it was just your username that you use.
No, dude, it was a ref. It was a sick ref, dude.
I feel bad now. Yeah, I mean, this is the rebranded one. You have to think I was in the other one, the Rockford CCG one, so.
Sure.
Which is they were safe anyway. Regardless, that's not the point. That's not the point. So okay, anyway, so problematic cards moving in forward. Obviously people as they've kind of been announcing these reveals, they're like, oh, I can't wait to abuse this crap in X
Sure.
version in standard, right? So like for example, what are y'all already kind of brainstorming on things you think is one not going to be really good or like things are going to have to change? It's two categories. Jasco's already announced that they're going to be doing a standard evaluation this week for Universus standard. Basically, what that means at the end of the week, we're probably going to get bans slash erratas, and this gives enough people time to play test with that idea going into this nationals event that's supposed to happen in a month, which is good. I'm glad they're giving us a heads up. Whereas like the last Jasco thing we played in, Mark and I, the online thing that Mark
Yeah.
won, and we got a ban list change the week before,
Yeah,
and we were
right
like,
before it.
feels bad, man. Like, uh, so that's what's going to happen. So moving forward, because My Hero will be legal, we have gotten official reveals. What do you think is going to be an issue? Or do you not think any of
Uh,
these cards are good enough?
so there's a lot of unflip in that in Ayama's kit, man.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, and there's a lot of very good flips just in standard. And I'm seeing some flips in this format that I'm like, that's good. You know, commit, unflip my strong ass foundation seems pretty good. Like the just commit to unflip the Asui Ophidiophobia card,
Yep.
right?
Hmm.
On life. You know, like you have that in standard, you can also back that up with like Blackbear Diner and shit. Like
Yeah.
that that was
The Froppy Ultra Rare that just says E Unflip 2, like that's free. Um, and I know people that almost wanted to play Owl Slider because it said E Unflip 1. Or not Owl Slider, Oil
like
Slider. I
oh yeah, her 3 difficulty high zone swimming bird that hits for 6 and has breaker on it.
Oh yeah, 3 diff because of Reddy's 2, right? Is that what you're talking
Yeah, it
about?
readies 2 foundations.
Wait,
What
wait,
that's
doesn't that unflip 2? Which one am I thinking of?
it
I'm
doesn't
What you're
unflip 2,
thinking
it
of.
It
readies 2.
readies 2.
It
That's what it is.
readies
Okay,
2
yeah.
because she has the air symbol.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
this is the card I was saying. You play Life Spike and you just
Yeah, it
play
has a
Water
1
Spike
mid
and you have
block, just like Swimming Bird, but they
has
said, nah,
Breaker.
that wasn't enough. It has Breaker 1, it's high zone, it starts bigger, right? Because she gives it speed, you know? Like,
Like like for such a vanilla character that Spike is, I just couldn't imagine like turn 3, like just a more strong turn than being like Swimming Bird, Cali, you get back to my hand, this attack, Swimming
yeah.
Bird, and you just
You
die.
get to play
Like
8
what?
freaking Swimming Birds in your deck. Like, I mean, so I don't think it's actually stronger than Spike, like Water Spike's insane turn 2 right now, right? Like Moonset into so Moonset with a Cecilica, grab a momentum, Moonset to get the second momentum, and then reverberate multiple 2, break 2 foundations, get flip 2 foundations, and you just got that's like 35 damage, right? That's all fast as fuck.
Yeah.
Like that's way more toxic to me than that, right? Like 8 swimming birds is not my problem. My problem is 3 difficulty swimming bird. You know, it's just like 3
Versus
difficulty
4
swimming bird.
difficulty Swimming Bird.
Yeah, like the only thing gating it is that you have to have the foundations to tap to play it, right? So it's balanced around that. But you play it on a 6 tap 3 ready 2 foundations, like you're going to be able to do that. Especially on the deeper strings like later in the game because these characters are going to have tons of flip foundations later in the game. So if she ever draws 2 of these, she's playing 2 of them at pretty much any level of
Because what's your package? You play like this, Swimming Bird, Moonset, Vengeance, Shotgun. Like that's enough of a package.
For life,
Sure.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
if you choose to opt for the reverberate water thing, you can do that instead, and you can still play this card in it, right? So like,
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that card seemed a little crazy to me.
I know some people were talking a lot of like Ochako or Uraka support, because she does a lot of the kind of moving card pool, clearing card pool stuff. Whether she has the kind of Kotal Khan-esque stuff of like having face up momentum and moving stuff to momentum. Um, I know that there's like cheeky interactions. We don't have to go into super detail, but like she has an attack that says while it's in your momentum, you remove it, and you can make any attack clear your card pool after it resolves.
It's at response speed too, right?
No, I think it is enhance. It just says, I have it up. Enhance momentum, remove, colon. After your attack resolves, add it to your momentum. So it like what it's like it there are scenarios where like hand cannon's relevant against it obviously, but it inherently is a throw. It's a 6 damage throw. Um, it has so here's my thought, right? It's a 3 high for 6 with chaos. So
Hey,
it's another throw that Nightmare can play,
he's
and
not
it
playing evil. I'm good.
yeah, that's fair. It's not playing evil, but you can always off symbol evil stuff like the ones that
Yeah,
matter.
sure.
So it's like it's a throw that's going to deal damage. He gets more damage on it, and it furthers the next turn because you can
Mhm.
keep going off of progressive, basically. Um, so like that's how I see that kind of card being cheeky. You can do other nice stuff with because she has air. You can do things with like M3C under air or life for any character that commits for anything.
Right.
So there's a world where you can play freaking Sagat and under air, and you can be like, I get a Sagat twice per turn, and you're like, that's kind of cool, I guess. All Might, I guess, under air, like that's a world where you can do that. Like it's anything in that realm, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I think it's cool. I mean, like I played her a little bit when I saw like all the cards. I was like, put some practice together. Nick put it on like TTS and stuff, and like it's cool. Like she feels great, right? To like first attack, put that thing down, shove it into your momentum, play another attack, slam it into momentum, right? And then add it back to your hand. Like it feels great. It
Y-
feels super good. It also feels fair. Like
Yeah,
I know people were upset about like how she can interact with Moonset and stuff like that. Like she gets to play it twice per turn, but there's already so many characters that do that. Like
yeah. You can do
looping
water.
Moonset.
You can do water fiddlestick shenanigans. Like that
Yeah,
exists. Like
yeah. Fiddlesticks. You have Kali Yuga doing, and she's gonna have all that stuff also, right? In standard,
I think
but
that,
that's a
yep.
I think her package. So on that, like I think she does play Moonset as one of the better characters.
yeah.
Because I think just being able to draw 2 Moonsets turn 2 when you build Kali Yuga turn 1 and be like Moonset, send it away, Moonset, commit, add this momentum back to my hand, Moonset, bounce the first Moonset to my hand. That's 4 Moonsets for 2 Moonsets and an asset.
Oh
Like,
yeah, yeah. No, it's that's definitely toxic as fuck.
yeah,
Like it's not that's not all right. But there are characters that already do that. Like Killick does that already, and he
Yeah.
does it cheaper.
Yeah, I
Um,
I think the other cool thing though is that like in that same deck, right? Like she has her ultra rare meteor shower, which is like turns any momentum into a meteor shower to pick up and play again.
it's not multiple, right?
It's not yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're exactly right. But I think
yeah.
the cool thing though is that this exists in an environment where squirrels exist. And so she can
Hmm.
turn your random generated thing from squirrels into
Sure.
an attack, like guaranteed because this
Yeah,
attack works. To be fair, that exists in any character that wants to play Meteor Shower. So
sure.
like,
It also it's existed with Guardian's Judgment. Um, as
yes,
on a
yes.
5 diff. Like that
Hmm.
existed already in the game. So like I think that's a perfectly acceptable card to me.
Right.
Like,
It's just kind of cool because like we're talking about life a lot. I think life is getting some cool tools mainly because we can already talk about Moonset, which is already a really strong card under life. It has things
mhm,
like revoke. I'm looking though at like that is under chaos, and so chaos is all this momentum stuff, and Uchako like is kind of really cementing that. And then based off of how they just showed off Shoto Todoroki, he's going to be doing a lot of I want to say so like his chaos mechanics are going to be like adding to checks kind of that identity and that symbol, but at the same time like on his character he has cancellation built in on him as a seven-hander. Um, so it makes me think if we're going to be getting more copies of like that. Like there was always the biggest idea of like if within the set we get a revoke, like what exists in this world where we have 8 revokes in a format.
Right.
Like, or you can have 8 revokes in a deck, I should say, is how I should have worded it. So like that's something we don't want to like theory about, but it's things like these all these symbol identities that we have associated with all of these cards that already exist. Like we're getting 180 new cards. I look at like your old Bakugo deck that you built, Bromley, and like because they changed the demo decks, there's a new attack in that demo deck or the rival deck or whatever that burns your opponent for vitality, and so this burn deck can become another further burn deck.
Right.
Plus you look at like maybe some support that Shigaraki has under fire or
Yeah.
whatever. That's like I can burn you some more kind of thing. It's like, oh, like that was already a real deck. It becomes
Yeah.
more of a real deck. So
I've said for a while if they ever print a 7-hand size Bakugo, that character becomes fucking AIDS
because
in standard.
you didn't use any text on your character,
Nah,
never.
nah. Like maybe if they blocked my boner flame, you know, like
Yeah.
that has fury on it. Like I'll clear my card pool so I can play these 4 foundations easier, I guess. But like, no, it has not. Like the only times you use the characters to like blow up the loser or to get out of deadlock.
I,
Like,
I had asked Mark earlier. I'll move on to like another card and stuff like that. So Recipro Burst, which is Ida's ultra rare, I think is a really cool card. I'm an order player, so I think it's great. I think it's cool because Void has an attack that can get damage on it for once again.
imagine that, dude.
Attacks now because of this set.
Well, you gotta do fire shit on your void symbol.
Yeah. Exactly. No, but so I was asking Mark and stuff like that. I was like, how do we feel about Raphael 2 dot competitively? And then like I see this card and I'd be like, oh, he can play this.
You sure can play
because
that.
having a Navos effect of constantly getting speed on an attack and an attack that says give me X damage, which is 3 minus the speed.
I mean, you heard what I thought when I saw that attack.
Jet as well, yeah, because he can make it EX5 and stun 3, and then its other effect gets speed because you committed cards. It's like I think that kind of stuff too. Like I think there's definitely realm and the ultra rares. What was that?
Punch and Judy fired Jet deck with that card.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. You can do it under order too. I think the only character that could probably get away with that is like an Edenine-esque kind of like gets to play 6 checks for some reason. But I know what you mean.
You could randomly just make that card like 40 damage for no reason.
Yeah. So I think the ultra rares, if they're continuing with the way that they've shown, I think there exists a world where we have some like shotgun-esque, meteor-esque, moonset-esque ultra rares, right? Which, if we look at the Universus standard environment as a whole, could present a problem. But who knows, right? Based off of this end of this weekend.
Yeah. They seem very vanilla, but I mean they seem very statted. And
Yeah, they're simple and strong.
I think they're what they wanted ultra rares to be like when Cowboy Bebop came out, but they just added an extra line of text to all those attacks that they didn't need to add.
They're also being very sparingly with these like bad checks. We've seen one, and it's the All Might one.
Yeah.
And it's not even. I didn't think it needed a 2 check.
It draws 3 cards, man.
Okay.
And you can pay for it's powerful from hand. Like so in that format, getting them
is a cost.
Yeah, well, hang on. Like that's thematic to say one thing. Like he's sacrificing power later for power now, right?
Yeah.
But it draws 3 fucking cards.
But Guilty Throne draws 3 cards.
Listen. Don't compare shit to standard. This isn't standard, right? Like in this format, like I haven't seen anything that says momentum is as easy to fucking acquire as it is in standard, right? So like if you're in this format and you can pay for powerful from hand and EX from hand, like that's a big deal. You're skipping the part of the game where you needed to hit them in order to get momentum. to power up this attack, right? So
Right.
like it feels like, especially on a character that like I feel like in other characters this card's bad most of the time, right? Like
Yeah, yeah.
there's because it doesn't have, it's an All Might enhanced to draw 3, right? But
Correct.
in All Might, holy shit, that card's crazy
Yo, yeah,
because you
yeah,
draw
yeah.
3 and you draw 3 and then you give your attack powerful 9 and then you pay for 2 cards and you put 18 damage on it. Like, yeah, that's a 2 check, right? So I guarantee that's what happens. They were just exclusively testing it in All Might, and then All Might said powerful 18 one time, and they're like, "Yep, slap a 2 on that."
Does the attack itself do it as well? That's my other question. I thought I remembered that.
So the attack is actually kind of fair. Like you discard a momentum in order to be able to pay for momentum from hand, right? And I think it's gated. I think you can spend 2 from your hand, right? But
Add
it
up
basically turns,
to, yeah, you can add
yeah,
up to 3.
yeah. So it's like you spend 1 momentum and turn it into more momentum, which is great. Like that's cool. Um, and it's just when combined with a character, it becomes a huge dunk, like a very powerful dunk.
So my other idea is like I know we're getting a new All Might, but remember we still already have one, and he
Hmm.
can play this card.
He can play that card. He can play it very well too.
Now if you turn, and that's the thing is like turning that All Might, the All Might one that exists, turning him into a permanent 5-hander just from playing one of these still seems fine because he draws 2 every
He
turn.
draws too, yeah.
So like it doesn't feel bad.
And he's got
Um,
a fat booty.
yeah, he does. So like I know what you mean. Like there's definitely the world, and like what he has that he has. I mean, All Might has 2 ultra rares. He has the other one,
Hmm.
the combo punch, get 4 damage, and enhance discard a card. Next one gets 4 damage. It's a very vanilla kind of plain
Yeah,
punch.
yeah, like would have been a common in Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it's interesting too. This deck has like a lot of what people call cantrips, I guess, for
Yes.
when we play UFS. It's a card that replaces itself, and I'm specifically talking about it because he himself, All Might, has one.
Yeah.
Uh, if you're like if you had a punch that dealt damage, draw 1, and it's just an attack that does that. There just feels like there's a lot of that. Like there's another one in somebody else's support that just says E draw 1.
Yeah. Yeah, Ida has one. And he also has one that if this isn't blocked, I draw 2.
Um, Shigaraki has one that says if it's not blocked, draw 1. And then
Hmm.
on the same card, it says if it is blocked, you add it back to your hand for the
Hmm.
combo on it. So it's like stuff like that.
I mean, so those are cool effects. I'm a big fan of cantrips. Like my favorite card is Portal Kick.
Yeah, for
So
sure. Oh, we know.
like, yeah. So I mean, like, I think that the simple like poke, draw a card to replace it so I can build out. Like I think that's like small card advantage like that feels great. Like that's my
Hmm.
that's why I would play Nutcracker, right? Like
Yeah.
Nutcracker, of course, being a 4-8 for basically free for a long time is a big deal, but it also draws a card and advances your board state. You know, like those cards are awesome, and I would love to see more of. I think every symbol should have a 4 difficulty that draws a card for doing something that your character wants to do.
What the symbol wants
Freely,
to do, right?
yeah, yeah. It's freely available to you, right? Like like does Asui has that card that's like, if I'm committed, uh I commit one of your foundations, like shit like that. It doesn't have to necessarily be a cantrip, but like doing like being getting something plus for doing what my character does, like that. And that feels bad for like everybody else that we've seen so far. Like I wouldn't play that card in any other character we've seen, but maybe like in the future there might be characters that commit themselves for cost, or like want to be committed or ready themselves or something like that. And that card's great for that
I
character, you
think the
know?
weirdest one is I know the Aoyama one has like there's an attack that says like enhance if you flip the foundation this enhanced step this gets 1/1, which is what he does as
Right.
because he has that response. But
Yeah,
he
it's 1/1.
but he himself doesn't flip foundations, right?
Right.
It's not
Yeah.
like
You have to
Andy. It's not like
you
the
have to
Andy
find it.
stats. So and the attack doesn't do it either. So there's a real weird disconnect on that attack for me.
That feels great to me because it means you have to have other stuff on
You
board in
have
order
to
to have
like
it,
play the
right?
foundations that flip something like
Yes, like
his zero
his
diff.
one diff, there's zero diff, right? That flips
Yeah.
one for +1 damage, right? It's really +2 damage in him, but like that's playable elsewhere too, right? It's just really good for him.
Yeah,
Um,
it's just, but then at the same time, like Aoyama has a different 4 diff that says enhance flip 1. The next card you play gets -1 difficulty. Like that's just free, and so it's a 4 diff 5
sure.
high 5.
Well,
And
well, so that other one, no, that one's a 4 diff. Oh yeah, yeah, I see what you're saying. Well, the other 4 diff is a 3 low 5, right? Like it's a different zone. it gains health, right? Like that one's a like a niche one. Like I think that the 4 diff that you're describing now is like that's the one that you play 3 or 4 of, and then the other one, the one that requires you to flip a foundation, is like 1 or 2 of.
Oh,
Because
okay,
like
okay.
at
Just to
certain
have
parts
it.
of the game, yeah, like I would want to gain 3 health for momentum sometimes, and also it's a low attack that I can like if I have stuff on board, it becomes like a 4 low 6. Or sorry, it's flip 1 foundation with the 0 diff, and it's a 5 low 8, right? That's really good return for your investment of flipping 1 foundation in the
Oh,
character.
yeah, yeah. If you with the foundation. Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
okay.
and in other characters, you might have some support that flips, and it's a 4 low 6 for a 4 diff. That's really strong. You know, like if like and especially for a card that I put in my deck because it has. I wish it had a better block, but you know, like if for a card that has that I put 1 or 2 of in my deck that has that high of a high for a 4 diff, that feels fine. Like that feels good.
That's fair. I think
But
overall though, as a format, like I think MHA. I'm excited for what the MHA format will look like because I feel like as we talked a little bit before off screen, I think the format is going to feel so much slower than what Universus feels like, and
yeah,
I think that's a great opportunity for people to play Universus the card game
yeah,
when you do a bunch of turns back and forth. Now it makes time for like competitive stuff a little bit of a problem, and uh, that not might not be what people are looking for. But I think when it comes to standard, I think a lot of this is really cool because they're kind of showing a lot of these cool defensive tools or generically fine attacks. Like we were saying, like they're all statted pretty well. I don't think I've been unimpressed by like an attack's main statedness. But they all kind of have their individualistic synergies within the character that they go with, which is good.
mhm,
That's how they should be. But then they maintain symbol identity, so there's a world where they can exist in other things. Um, so I think as a whole, though, as design space, it looks good. I
yeah.
guess is my overarching thing. And so that's kind of the only reason I wanted to bring up the topic is like was that I didn't know if there was anything that stuck out to y'all of just like, man, this is gonna be bad.
Well, I
Like
know Mark doesn't like Evil Gaze, and by doesn't like, I mean he's going to play 4 of it.
and we can end on Evil Gaze. That'll be the last card we talk about if we
Yeah,
want.
Yeah, I think Evil Gaze is nuts. For my hero and for standard.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
Elaborate.
that
I
card's a
think
Libra card.
I just think we did need another selective destruction card in the game, especially one like Bromley was saying that's proactive, not reactive. So you get to just sit there and proactively just blow up your opponent's board, and they go to cancel, and you just T-bros their cancel, so they lost 2 foundations for your hand traps. Like it's just more hand traps that we
That's
Yeah.
didn't
fair.
need.
And I think a lot of people share your sentiment on the hand trap idea. I
Yeah,
think you're right.
imagine a situation where you're playing like you play shotgun, right? And then you enhance Evil Gaze, right? And then they try to cancel with Ageless Wise, and you respond to Guru Brothers, right?
Yeah.
And then you don't remove Taguro Brothers from your card pool
More
because
damage.
you haven't enhanced shotgun yet, right?
Yeah.
You draw your card, right? And you destroy 2 of their foundations because they're not gonna not block the shotgun that's already dealing 5 more damage,
Yeah.
right? Like in standard, that card like it combos like it's really good and like there are answers to it, right? You know, if you have a bunch of ageless and wise, you just cancel the whole ass card and it sticks in the card pool. Um,
There's a
but
world
in
where like if you have speed cancellation, like
yeah,
overly, like you can
overly
cancel it
denied.
with
Yeah, you can
overly.
cancel it, but in My Hero,
Yeah.
there's like we haven't seen anything that interacts with it, right? Like, oh,
Shota
I guess
Todoroki
Shoto Todoroki. Yeah,
can.
Todoroki can cancel it. Yeah, Todoroki can cancel it. Sorry, I wasn't considering that until 5 seconds ago when we saw
when
the
I
card. But
when I posted it in a Discord chat.
but,
But just
but like,
just imagine you're playing Scorpion, and like you're at that sweet spot of like 18 life, and you play 2 of these on your throw, and you give it 6 damage, and you minus its speed because fuck it, and you're like it's a 0 low for 12 throw, and they block it, and they burn 2 and take their 6, and you blow up their 2 best defensive foundations, and then you go into your disruption turn, like.
yeah,
That feels pretty good.
yeah, that's probably okay. No, you had to discard 2 cards to do it,
I
Mark.
mean, I mean, in that same scenario though, right? Like it's just like it adds this. I mean, even like I don't think the play is amazing, but like even look at like Vicious Madness, right? In that same deck, like let's talk about Scorpion. You play Vicious Madness. This card enables you to get closer to that desperation number. You get there. You give 6 damage to the throw.
Give it 2 speed.
You give it 2 more speed. Your character gives it speed. And you're like, hey, if you block it, I'm also gonna pop something. Or you
Yeah,
could eat the frickin'
14 damage.
14 damage.
It's eat the 14, or I'm gonna blow up one of your foundations. You're gonna burn 2, and you're gonna take half. Like
You're
those are
still gonna
not
take
good
7. Yeah,
options.
It's
take 9, build
9 pop
foundation.
1 or
Not even pop one.
14.
I pop one of yours.
Yeah. So
You know,
Yeah,
like
and then you're like, what are you gonna? You're like, what are you gonna try to do? And they're like, I'll flip this foundation that says they take no damage. You're like, well, let's T-Bros that garbage.
I for sure I think just okay, I know it's an ultra rare and that's part of like the kind of power level behind this card. Did it need to be a 0 diff though? Like actually?
no, it didn't
No.
need to have a good block or breaker either.
Yeah, the stats on this
0
card.
diff?
Yeah, I think it could have had a bad block.
This action has a 5 check and the box topper doesn't have a 5 check.
Well, the box topper grabs you an attack, doesn't it? Like it's just an extra attack in your deck, right?
Yeah, but it needs momentum. So like that's your momentum use.
Well, but it turns an attack you played earlier in the game into whatever attack you want from your discard pile. So it checks a 3 because it is an attack, right? Yeah, I think it could have checked a 4 or 5. Yeah, but I understand why it checks a 3.
Libra of Souls. The action card checks a 4. And that card's bad.
Yeah, it's bad. Unless you're playing a one shot on turn 1, turn loose.
Yes.
But yeah, so like yeah, I think that card is a cranked ass Libra of Souls card, in a set that's like somewhere in between Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, in terms of power level.
That's fair.
Like I don't think it's gonna get banned, but I think it's gonna get complained about.
You think on the low end, My Hero is Street Fighter level?
I think some of the no. I'm saying the foundation defense and simplicity is like Street Fighter level, and Street Fighter foundations are for the most part really good actually.
Yeah, I would agree. Like, I mean, Guile, almost every single one of Guile's is used. So like,
you'll never catch a competitive player playing a card that says like tap for 2 damage. Like
right, yeah.
Like, and that's how it feels like half of this set is. Like so.
Yeah, because and I think those effects need to exist in the beginning of the card game, right? Like they create the foundation of how the game's supposed to play, right? And eventually we'll just power creep them, which is fine.
Yeah. Right. So right now you're not going to have enough defense to play entirely defensive foundation pieces, right?
Correct.
You
Not
know,
on
like,
every symbol.
When it comes to standard, I bet you there's only like 8 cards out of the whole 180 that get played in standard decks for foundations. Like,
damn, that's a hot take.
I don't think that's true.
I wonder.
I've only seen like 2 I would play.
Well,
I think a lot of our
options,
symbols in standard, right? Yeah, there's also a lot of spams. I think a lot of symbols in standard, the reason why they feel not fun or not good to play right now is because they are lacking in the defense department.
Yeah.
If you look at a symbol like air, like I love that symbol. Like I mean, I like playing air Remulus, like even with you, Mark. But like it doesn't have the same defensive foundations that it used to have.
Right.
Like we don't got Dust in the Wind anymore. You don't even have Balance Fighter for like the speed kind of identity that you used to have to be able to block like a madman in air. And if that exists in this set, air is a symbol again, in my opinion, because you had the offensive already. Hell, Reverberate has air. Like they could have already been doing that.
Yeah.
But now
like
yeah.
Sorry, you go ahead.
Now, if you add it on though, like I think in standard, because of those foundations existing, you can hit that level. I think 100%. So
yeah, I agree.
I'm trying to find that action. I can't find it. I don't know why, because I couldn't remember the effect on it. The box.
It's called Go Beyond.
Whatever.
Go Beyond.
It doesn't matter. It's not important. The point is that I agree with you. Like, so that's the first action in the set that we've seen. Based off of playtesting, we are aware that in the little crappy video that you can kind of see that Eraserhead, he has a card called Erase that we're supposed to be looking for that hasn't been shown yet. So we don't know what that's going to look like. But from playtesting, we have an idea. On top of that, what you said about the foundation destruction, I think it's really interesting to also think about that Shigaraki's the only character that we've seen with death.
No, Aoyama had death.
Oh yeah, we just have death. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's fair. So, but regardless, though, for this large of a
Two more.
set, there's two more minimum,
More. Yeah.
because there is going to be some overlap on just the
Well,
because DLC and the quirk packs and stuff like that. So there exists a world where there's more than that for death
Yeah.
characters or death support cards that include foundation destruction.
Yeah. So the I on the PPT, like some stuff changed between the PPT and what's up now, but the definitely not Nomu character had like 2 attacks that said alternating things. Like one was, if this is not blocked, destroy a foundation, and then
Or
the
if
other
it
one was,
is blocked.
if this blocked, destroy a foundation.
Gotcha.
Right. I think the one that was like, if it's not blocked, was selective, and the one that was, if this is blocked, but like, if this is blocked, destroy a foundation, and I evil gazed it, is a hell of a play, right?
Or even in a character like Shigaraki himself, which
Yeah.
he has destruction built on him based off of the block scenario. So
Right.
like, yeah, I know what you mean. So there exists. So we're
If it didn't get changed, if it didn't get changed, you know. So like, I'm not trying to talk about PPT, but like, because we're on the subject of death, like
Yeah.
I think there are, you know, like more destruction things coming, and I hope that it got addressed in the like I hope there's some cheap efficient spam that says, hey, if this is destroyed, build the foundation, you know, like stuff like that, to deal with some of it,
It's
because
like there's a card that says that already.
yeah, yeah. Well, hopefully it doesn't have good, because then then we gotta ban Andy. Bandy. Don't need him to have 2 of that card.
All right, so I mean, those were my main talking points that I kind of just wanted to talk about, and I think there was some good stuff that was said. So I am satisfied, and I'm sure our viewers are. Although there hasn't been is a content drought, I'm sure they still would like to move on with their day. Does anybody else have any extra points or the things that they would like to talk about? Either one of you, or you can plug yourself, Bromley.
Dude, somebody get Phil Birch to give me some time so I can make videos again.
You can always just tag along with us if you want, Bromley.
Oh, thanks, dude. Appreciate it.
You can't post them to yours, but you can always be here.
Oh, I've been like, I have a few video ideas that came up, and then I'm like, oh, I don't want to betray Phil and do it without him though. And then I'm like, hey Phil, want to do a thing? He's like, sorry, dude, I'm working, or like, I'm streaming this weeb game right now, and I'm like, damn it, Phil Birch.
That's fair. Mark?
But
No, it was just fun to talk to people again.
yeah.
Based off of what's been shown, here's my last question. Because I know Mark likes to go to, especially pre-releases and drafts, and he's in Omaha, so he's getting Legendary Wolf games to go do that at.
I'll be working. You're
For
free.
you as well, Bromley. I do have release weekend off, so I will be playing in that. Do any of these characters and or cards seem like they're going to be super fun for draft?
Oh, with like commons and shit, dude. Aoyama with 100 of like his like.
The -1 diff.
Yeah.
I'm down, dude.
I think I want
It's
to play
also momentum
Aoyama.
hate, by the way. Like, so when you
Yeah, it
like
is.
in draft, you're just like response after I play this pitch one. Like,
I don't know if it's gonna be good, but I want to play that character. I think that character's super funny.
the character just also says like, how many face downs do I have? My next card's free.
Let me play whatever dunk I drew that turn, no matter what.
I
Like,
drew this
mean,
spicy. I drafted this spicy one of ultra rare that's maybe like an 8 diff or whatever that they print in the
Right.
set, and you're just like, huh.
Right. yeah. So not to go like wax on poetic, but it's been so funny looking at like the comment sections of these Facebook posts, because like Alex Marco and every one of them has been like, OP, 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 this character's broken kind of stuff, because it's like, oh, I committed my face and can't use the response anymore to
Oh yeah.
on the shotgun, or like the same thing with Uraka. Oh, moonset, you know, like every character. It is exciting, I think, for people, and I think it's super funny how people are going nuts.
Aoyama's is play well committed.
Is it play well committed?
Yeah, it is.
Yo, that character's crazy. Oh, that character's awesome.
He's
Hell
still
yeah.
a 6-hander, but
Yeah,
I think that deck is gonna. I think Aoyama's just like a. Hey, new player, would you like to just poop stats on people? Here's the deck, my dude.
I think so, and so it is funny because like there's like 2 characters that are like what's the guy who talks to birds and stuff like that? Like How do
Oh,
you
to.
Coda? It's Coda, right? Like so,
Oh
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
if that gets in the set, it's another one that's gonna be like, ah, here a new player because nobody cares about them. Like, oh yeah, I'm like what, like what's thematic about that
Yeah,
character,
what the
right?
heck? Like I was like, for a
It's
character,
just,
what
it's
a
like
cool cards for a character that's like, what? How much showtime do you have on the anime? Like, what am I?
exactly. So it's like it's neat that they did that, to give some incentive. Like, oh, this feels great to play. You can put it on a character that's maybe a little
Even like
underutilized.
what Kamui Woods, right? He's one of the DLC dudes or whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, man, this guy's kind of cool for a guy that's gonna get no
Oh,
support. Like,
yeah. You mean Jose Norono's character card, dude?
yeah, 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 pretty much.
It's just Woodman's Leaf Shield on a stick.
What was that, Mark?
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like when I looked at him, I think I even like immediately like talked to Chris. I was like, this character's not good enough for standard. But like as now we're seeing the My Hero stuff, I was like, if you put a good player behind this character, like
Oh yeah.
he
Yeah.
works, like he's good.
I
The
mean,
attacks just have to be strong enough.
just imagine playing defensively and being like, is Woodman Leaf Shield still gonna be legal?
No, it's
No, but
gone.
like block
It's
with
Gone.
Leaf
gone.
Shield for spawn
Yeah,
payload.
it's
And
gone.
like,
That's the
It
saddest
rotates.
part is that you can't play him with Woodman's. You can't play Woodman's Leaf Shield the character with Woodman's Leaf Shield.
whatever, we can still block Big Cyclone and
Well, that's just it,
not.
right? So he'll get one attack card as support. It'll be like some quirk pack thing or whatever. It'll be
He'll
like
be
his
legal.
big one move that he uses in the beginning of the anime, the big tree thing, and it
A
will be
lacquered chain
and it
prison.
will be a new Woodman's Leaf Shield.
You think they're gonna give him a Woodman's Leaf Shield, dude? Just
maybe
reprint it
maybe I
with
don't
a
know.
with a zero mid block.
Zero mid block. Breaker one.
Breaker one, yeah. Break.
That seems to be the thematic theme.
Fair enough. All right, I think that's gonna sum it up though. I'm gonna end this and post it straight to YouTube though. Feel free to check out Christopher Bromley's channel. He does it with Phil Birch. Unfun stuff. It is a blast. They always have a good time. And Bromley has some phenomenal Photoshop work that he does for all of his
Every
thumbnails
time.
every single time. I've got them saved on my computer because I love them so much. They're mainly the pictures of Mark after he wins stuff. But yeah. Mark, once again, thank you for joining. He's a mainstay here, obviously, in our channel. And we are going to continue to keep posting videos whenever our schedules line up. We are going to do better, I promise.
Well,
So,
now that there's stuff to talk about it.
exactly, and that helps too. That was obviously one of the biggest downsides. But thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in, and we will see y'all next time.